when the story is set in the beginning of the film. Teenagers are harassing a poor child in high school. They place an apple on his head and take an aim. I saw that even with a knife one has to ignore how dangerous they are can be to the target, which the group is broken by a little girl named Amy. Then she stands up for the victims of bullies and attempts to assist the other man. Amy then takes them a picture of her and her late that of the brother you for this cause, bullying. He was killed by the same group of men who considered disturbing the less powerful one was fun. The bullies do not fancy he or she is trying to sort of discipline them. Their leader attempt to restrain her and charged at her with a knife. Amy pulls out a sickle. This is looking very much worse for the enemy, and slashes his hand off without a second. Supposed his friends freak out at the sight and are about to flee when Amy shows that she is also missing her left arm. This makes them have a perception that they beat her. Then they use knives to attack her and are shocked when Amy shoot out a machine gun using her cut off hand to hold it. She sneaks up to the entire group. After they are dead, she goes to upset man who was harassed some time ago. She offers to know if he is well, and the guy does not want her sympathy for him. She is sheer cold-blooded killer is divided into 6 some months earlier. Amy is with her friend having practiced basketball at school. She is happy and cheerful. That is the complete opposite. About her future, what she would become after school, she and her younger brother you walk home together. The brother and sister share a good like and be in a healthy relationship with each other. Dearie, you tease Amy for money like you are asking for the change. Because he is able to die to buy a new video game, Amy is still hesitating and only agrees when he says that he will do all the works is only for her. At night we get to realize that it's not really for a video game. Takashi, who is his best friend, on the way, also gave him money on a pack of lie to his mother for money. They uncertainly attend a gangster's den and give the money. The gang's boss is a ruthless guy named Kimura. Into it, he sees that the money is different from what he thought it would be. From the two, as a result, both you and your partner can get sexually transmitted diseases from the other. Takashi is beaten and insulted by the gang. They take the hit, scared that it will only make matters worse if you retaliate. While others are busy beating them, though, the climax takes the gang leader. Kimura burns there for money. His only intention was to assert he has kept MEM still dominating over Super, like he could have saved that money. The following morning you wake up to be given by Amy his favorite breakfast. The siblings live only because their parents are no longer present, which we know sometime 70 ago is proved to be performed the unspeakable. After pretending when she was being accused of murder, she observes the fists are swollen and you can see bruises on your face and asks him how he got them. She is worried for him, but he attempts to wash his hands off the conversation. All in all, though, when it has been treated severely proposed, he manages to tell her that he fought some boys yesterday did not show understanding at all the degree of this problem, and concludes took over the conversation by inviting him to stay with other assertive persons being avoided by Kimura's Yakuza elder. Ruji is one of the most disgusting mafiosi, who is very tense about family culture. He prepares his son for battle so one day he would become as wicked as his ancestors. He even coerces Kimura to drink such way that his blood so he would inherit the despicable animalistic nature of his family. The only thing drinking that won't affect is going to make him inherit is aided by the day they are interrupted by his house servant, who has come to ask them for breakfast. Ruji thinks that her presence is the tradition feudal and start to turn red. Anger. A while later we see Kimura about to hook up with him and join his gang outside. On his way out he says hello to his mother, who is always smiling. Tells him have a good day, but immediately she murders the servant very violently as a discipline for disturbing Ruji earlier. In the following scene we see you go to Takashi's house. The guys meet, but his mother name is Miki and she told her son in order not to get close to you whose parent were killers. She does not wish her son to be associating with friends with a bad influence affect. The boys choose to, well, just not pay her any attention and turn their back to her, whereas later Amy and her friend are outside of the academic context, especially after basketball habit. While speaking, the people around notice you of Kawada and Takashi running in the street. Some few seconds later, Kimura and his group slow down and follow behind, cursing the two. Amy comes to the realization of her brother being in trouble and jog to rescue them. However, before she takes it to them, a group of perverted men stand in her way. They consider it will be sleazy for want of a better word, seem to be thoroughly enjoying the fact that she was being dominated by someone so small. He disproves them wrong by doing good handling self-defense abilities. At the same time, every family in the hideout have. Kimura and his gang have captured Takashi and Yu and are demanding it for more money. However, both give them have had all their pocket money and they have nothing to give them. Kimura begins to verbally attack Amy, and this of course makes incorrect. The man then proceeds to insult Amy, which only makes for you. He work up against the leader for the first time and attempts to pounce on. Kimura is able to evade him quite often. In last, Kimura and his people throw the poor guys off the building and kill them. When Amy finally arrives, she found of a brother's dead body on the ground and is heartbroken. She cries loudly, shed tears and wails. only survived him by a few days, and she was too grief-stricken by his passing. Musters enough courage to go to visit Takashi's house and offer condolence his parents. However, Miki has seen Yu and Amy for her son's death. Their death have been said to be an act of self-mutilation improperly with no prior investigation. Amy attempts telling Miki and her husband Suguro that someone might have killed Takashi. However, Miki is not in a mood to listen. While getting home, Amy searches his brother's belongings and come across a journal. In it you have described his sufferings. Young with manly strength and athletic grace, he has been put through the gauntlet of all that the human body is capable of enduring. In detail, Amy cannot help but cried after reading it. Even though you hasn't required the naming of the bullies, he has mentioned the gang member I in that list. There are bullies that he has mentioned the gang member Ryota in the journal. The very next day, one day, she visits Ryota's house to ask him if he knows who the gang leader is. Ryota takes no heed of her fears and leaves after saying sorry for Yu's death. Ryota is made up of such components. Ryota's father has understood that when he identifiable that Amy is against his son, he is. That she has evidence of Ryota's. Concerning the murder, he tries to kill her to keep his son from being also convicted. His wife also joins and puts the fire and preparing boiling oil to throw on Amy's hand into the pan on the stove. In the end, Amy ends up that I throw hot water over Ryota's father's face, contend that they got married, and the woman fled the marriage and for her life the same night. Sometimes Amy secretly enters Ryota's room through he has a sickle on the window. She has a knife at his throat and challenges him to let her know who the gang leader is. Scared for his life, the guy that Kimura killed her brother has been ascertained by the biography. Amy also appreciates him for the information by slitting his neck in the kitchen. His mother is cooking when the lights suddenly switch off when they are switched back on. Thus, in one scene she finds her son's severed head, in another, Amy comes out behind her then and stabs her to death. Then she makes Ryota's father bathed in his son's blood before walking away. Badass. In the following scene, Ruji and his people like seeing their family is enjoying dinner together. A new chef spills a bowl of for soup on Kimura. The family does not accept the very slightest form of improper conduct, including disrespect, even when it is unintentional. As punishment, best Kimura's mother Violet makes the chef severed all of his fingers himself, sticks and eats them. Kimura then he will get up and leave to go to the washroom. To his surprise, he comes across a guard with his neck chopped off, sees Amy on the ceiling. She jumps on him, and is only a few seconds from this final act of self-destruction before his father and the guards cease the attempt. Finally, Violet attacking him first, and then the bodyguards who surround her with daggers. Amy somehow succeeds in defending herself and nab Kimura yet again, only this time she minutes. Misha raises her hand to kill him. Ruji intervenes and a sword and stabs her arm to the wall. And at the end of the following scene, here are her hands tied to the ceiling as the guards started beating her brutally. Violet wants her husband to murder her on the spot, but he needs Amy to suffer the most and hope she were dead. Firstly, he cuts off all her fingers, then clumsily grumbles with a bandaged hand and a bloody, bandaged left arm as well. She screams in pain and agony while the family of gangsters nods at her. A talking of later in the episode, Violet sends a guard to kill the girl's life once and for all, Amy skillfully hugging him and placing her between his legs, and shoots him dead before leaving. The next morning, everyone from the gang finds out concerning the death and the escape of Amy. Violet is angry at her husband not shooting the girl dead even when he could. With no one to nurse her feelings, Amy goes to Takashi's house expecting that his parents, the opposite, will comprehend her issues. They discover her laid down outside the shop they were running. They immediately take her inside and clothe her wounds, finally serving her well afterwards from the injuries. A few weeks later she comes back to normal and shares with Miki the greater than the loss of her son, blaming it on was able to manage to persuade her to help in exterminating the murderers, and the two start practicing. From then, Miki's husband is very experienced car mechanic and would like to transform her severed hand into more dangerous weapon. He changes a submachine gun that would fit into her left hand basket hand and help her fight. A few days into the practice, Miki goes around. The component resource manager wanted to apprehend this mean woman, was walking around the particular neighborhood to undercover herself as one of the gangsters. Comes to know that Ruji and his whole family relocated from the old home and no one knows where they are at the moment. It doesn't dawn on Miki that she has been being followed by one of Ruji's guards. She goes home and narrates every incident to Amy. They discuss their next step. They are cyberbullied by his former followers, angry mobs who are in the gangsters orchestrated Ruji, but now that the two are trained they are able to fight back. Amy fits the before firing the machine gun she was holding in her hand several rounds. The massacre as the movie portrays several gangsters dead in a brutal manner during confusion. Mickey's husband dies on the hand of the enemies after kicking the person and cutting him in pieces. Fearing the gun, the guards run and the girls are forced to hold one of them as a hostage. They tortured him over the next few days and coerce him into giving them the location of Ryuji and his family. Is after that we see him, which compelled the duo to the family's new address. They had thought it would be an ambush, but the Ryuji's warriors are eager to hit back. They are ready. They are positioned in front of the girls in football uniforms. Standing in front of them, they fight entities. When there is a difference between the two, but using their new powers, Mickey and Amy must have the ability to overpower the opponent after opponent as if there was no other possibility of choices remained. Ryuji enters with his weapon on the battlefield. He points it at Amy's, but Mickey gets to her before it conquests. As a result, Mickey is head and her. When her leg is cut off, she starts bleeding and take the responsibility of hurting in silence, but still holding himself from shouting quit. She urged Amy to complete the goal of the training and the revenge anyone that irritated her brother. Amy accepts this and heads after Ryuji. As Mickey stated, she is often alone. One of Ryuji's men assault her. She cannot counter him and her, so she comes up with a better plan for the treatment of the aforementioned condition. She fixes a chainsaw to her leg and lashes it on him, and he gets injured with it. Sudden bloody death, but shortly after she also dies after severing a lot of blood. Meanwhile, Amy gets to where Ryuji is for good, shoots him with her gun, and that was his immediate death. Now the only person who has to die is the one who murdered her brother. She goes back to Mickey and is overwhelmed with the thought of the only friend she had. The other is, of course, God. With new vigor / left is also God with renewed motivation. Very determined, she takes the chainsaw and starts following the noise, searching for Kimura and Violet to begin with. She arrives there, gets to Violet and attacks her with the chainsaw, but was taken aback after seeing that it doesn't work. Violet undresses and she promptly shows that her unique senki is a bra made out of iron that guards her and acts like a drill. This is goddamn ridiculous. At this point, she hugs Amy as well, causing the bra to pierce her through and if skin and bleed. That girl is just a second away from committing suicide when Amy decides to beat the hell out of her back, which led to a small breakdown of the weapon. Kimura can observe his mother fighting and runs to her only to be beheaded by Amy. Does the same thing to Violet, and which momentarily tells the audience that she can finally take revenge in the end. She tells you Spirit that everything is over. He silently stands close by watching her and applauding. Subscribe to watch more videos like this. Leave a comment about your favorite movies and we will make it next. Thanks for watching.